This episode contains discussions of abusive and toxic relationships. Listen at your own discretion. It is Saturday, the 8th of June, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Today's artist has become popular. I mean, her career has only existed for the last few years, really. And she kind of just exploded onto the scene, got some real big viral hits, and became one of the biggest musicians in the world, real quickly, and at such a young age. And when that happens to someone, there's a worry that, fame will hurt them. But also there's a worry that, they'll make one big album that gets really big and they'll make a second album and no one will like it. Whether because it's too samey or because they tried something new and fans were fans of the old stuff. And it's always a worry, especially with young artists who get really big really quickly. But she has continued to be very successful from album to album. The artist we're talking about is Billie Eilish. I became a fan of her. I remember specifically, I had a friend who was obsessed with her. And we were putting on music at the LGBT society in college, and she put on Bury a Friend, and I was like, what? This is really interesting, actually. What is this? And so I just knew Billie Eilish as this relatively obscure female indie singer that I had heard the name of here and there but didn't really know much about. And then I looked her up afterwards because I made sure to make a mental note, Bury a Friend, Billie Eilish. I need to look that up. It's oh no, she's really popular actually. I just don't know her yet. But of course she's only gotten more popular from then. That would have been, I guess, 2018, 2019, something like that. And yeah, I got into her through that anyway. And, obviously she became big through Bad Guy, although Bury a Friend was also itself a big hit, of course, but Bad Guy is the certified classic, And her second album, I was wondering where she would go with it, because her first album has a very specific sound to it, and I tended to like the songs that didn't sound like that. I liked Bury a Friend, don't really care about Bad Guy too much, but I like her slower songs more, like Ocean Eyes and I Don't Want to Be You Anymore and Wish You Were Gay. And so I was curious what direction she would go with her second album, and it's a pretty logical progression from the first album, honestly. But the song we're talking about today from her second album is not like the rest of that. It's quite different from the rest of her career, and it very quickly became my favorite song on the album, and it is the title track, Happier Than Ever. And it's actually interesting. The first time I listened to it, I found it really weird and compressed, but that's because I was listening to it on shitty earphones. I very quickly grew to love this once I listened to it in better sound quality. But this song, it just caught me off guard. It's so good. It's got two distinct sections. We know I love distinct sections in this show, and I don't really want to say much else about it. Let's just listen to it, and we'll go from there. If you only knew Bad Guy and Bury a Friend, that is probably not what you were expecting to hear just now. I love this song, obviously, that's why I'm talking about it here, but particularly in contrast with the rest of her catalog. I suppose I probably should have talked about another one of her songs beforehand to contrast it, but I don't have as much to say about her other songs, really. But also, I chose this song today for a specific reason. I just love how she's known for her very breathy voice, where even, no matter how loud the song is, she tends to sing down here, kind of very whispery and sort of, there's usually reverb and stuff added, but it's a very low, breathy register, And she starts off doing that in the song for the first section of it, and then it turns into a fucking rock opera in the second half. And I love the sound of the first half, because even that doesn't sound like her usual stuff. It's not electronic, it's guitar and vocal, bit of string as well, and it sounds there's something about the rhythm of it, the strumming pattern, I guess, that makes it sound kind of the typical music you'd hear on a Hawaiian thing, a hula dance sort of thing, do 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 do. It just sounds like you're on a beach somewhere, and you've got her saying, "When I'm away with you." It sounds very old Hollywood, you'd almost hear Marilyn Monroe singing this or something, right? Which makes sense given her blonde aesthetic during this album's cycle. But anyway, it contrasts very well with the lyrics. I was saying it a lot last week during the Boy Genius songs, contrasting using the very soft voice and talking about heavy topics, right? Although obviously it talks about a lot heavier when the song gets a lot heavier. The music video also reflects that, but I'll talk about the music video after, or well, during the analysis of the lyrics because I want to talk about specific moments. So let's go through the lyrics. It starts with the chorus. When I'm away from you, I'm happier than ever. Wish I could explain it better. I wish it wasn't true. This is a song about Billie's ex, a specific one that I don't care about, like who he is. He's another musician. I don't give a shit. But point is, it's about a shitty ex of hers, and this is a very simple statement. When I'm away from you, I'm happier than ever. She says, I wish I could explain it better, but that's brutal. It's so good. Just, it really shows how extreme the bad feeling was and how much better she is without him, you know? And you get the verse. Give me a day or two to think of something clever, to write myself a letter, to tell me what to do. She's writing herself a song, so that works. And then we get into the kind of more, she's like addressing him in the song, right? Do you read my interviews or do you skip my avenue? When you said you were passing through, was I even on your way? So she's saying, like, are you keeping up with me even after we broke up? Like, do you care? Or like, we broke up and I didn't matter anymore, you know? I knew when I asked you to be cool about what I was telling you, you'd do the opposite of what you said you'd do. And I'd end up more afraid. You know, she tried to get him to listen to her, to make accommodations, to actually like engage in what she wanted out of the relationship, and he wouldn't do it. Pretty standard behavior, unfortunately. What I think is interesting though, she doesn't say like she's disappointed by this because she expects it, but also I'd end up more afraid is the telling word here. I mean, that's frightening. That implies a lot. Don't say it isn't fair. You clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable. So if you really want to know, when I'm away from you, I'm happier than ever. Let me get the chorus again. Yeah, just like, you clearly weren't aware that you made me miserable it feels sarcastic, but she might be being honest there. Anyway, after the other chorus, we get the gear change. So let's talk about the video for a sec. In the video, she's in like a luxury apartment or hotel room. It looks very hotel room to me for some reason. I think it's the color of the wallpaper, but it's like a really fancy room. There's a nice lamp and a nice couch and everything. And she's sitting there, she's on the phone, she's walking around, and she's got her lovely blonde hair. She's just wearing like a big baggy t-shirt, but it kind of fits this opening aesthetic with the like nice, soft instrumental and the real nice, like very pretty vocals. It fits the aesthetic of the hotel room. And then when she opens the door of the hotel room, water rushes in. And that's when the song makes the gear change into the rock song. And I like the way it has a steady build up with like the guitar and the drum coming in as the water floods into the room. You call me again, drunk in your Benz, driving home under the influence. You scare me to death, but I'm wasting my breath because you only listen to your fucking friends. Apparently this is something covered in a documentary about Billie Eilish, but like, yeah, he drunk drove and she was really mad at him, and understandably so. And you would be scared because of that. But she knows that he won't listen to her because he only listens to his friends. And we've all known people like that. We've all dated people like that who don't actually, you know, I mean, it's a classic objectifying thing. Like, they don't actually care what you think. They care more about what their friends say. I don't relate to you. I don't relate to you now, because I'd never treat me this shitty. You made me hate this city. And as she says, I'd never treat me this shitty, is when it starts yelling it. Throughout the rest of the song, her normal singing voice is there, but it's doubled by her in the background yelling it along. So she's going, I'd never treat me this shitty. And in the background you could hear like, I'd never treat me this shitty. It's a really cool effect because it shows... It's kind of like, it makes it feel like really like under bubbling rage, you know? But that line, I'd never treat me this shitty, is so, it's evocative because it's like, I wouldn't treat myself this bad. So why would I let anyone else treat me this bad? And then we get the big explosion with the drums hitting hard. I don't talk shit about you on the internet. Never told anyone anything bad, because that shit's embarrassing. You were my everything, and all that you did was make me fucking sad. And she's yelling this whole time. In the music video, she's now standing on the roof of the house she was in, which is just like, it's flooding all around. This is the only place she can stand. It's pissing rain. And like, her hair isn't like perfectly coiffed anymore. She's just drenched. And she's like passionately singing this into the sky. I mean, this is kind of talking about being the better person after a breakup. You know, I don't talk shit about you on the internet. Like, I don't tell people how bad you were, because why would I do that? But then you get, you were my everything and all that you did was make me fucking sad, is so, oh, it hurts so much. It's such a relatable thing for someone who's been in that position. You love someone so much, but they just make you miserable. They're no good for you, you know? So don't waste the time I don't have, and don't try to make me feel bad. I could talk about you every time that you showed up on time, but I'd have an empty line because you never did. Very self-explanatory, but also a great meta line referencing that, you know, she would write a lyric about this thing if it were true. Never paid any mind to my mother or friends, so I shut them all out for you because I was a kid. A classic abuse tactic of isolating someone from their inner circle, which is so horrific, you know, because if you follow Billie Eilish at all, if you've watched the yearly interviews she does, she's very close with her mother. So the idea that she shut her mother out for this guy it says a lot about the control he had over her at the time, you know. And then I like how it gets quiet again and she starts singing softly again, but the guitar is still going like ding, 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 and the drums are going dum, 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 dum. Like everything's quiet, but you can still feel it like thumping away, getting ready to explode again. So she says, you ruined everything good, always said you were misunderstood, made all my moments your own, just fucking leave me alone. And it explodes again for the rest of the song, and you get like screaming in the background and yelling fuck you and goddamn, and it's so, if ever there was a song to embody the feeling of catharsis, I feel like this is it. This is such a cathartic song, especially if you've been in this situation. Like I said, it just really, you can really just feel the emotional release of it, especially with the screaming at the end and the yelling throughout the song. And it's really interesting because it's such a genre change for her, but it suits her voice so well, and I wish she would do more songs like this. She recently released her third album, and I did enjoy it, but it's way more kind of Taylor Swifty pop, which I also enjoy, but I would love for her to do more songs like this. I think a rock sound really suits her voice. So that's all the lyrics. Yeah, it's just a really good breakup song, because it's not just like we broke up and I miss you, or we broke up and you suck. It's I'm thriving without you because I realized how horrific your behavior was and how much I suffered under you. Like it's something I really like about recent music, especially from younger artists, is even though like structurally, musically, they might be similar to stuff you've heard before, lyrically, they're very brutally honest in a way that's like very helpful for fans, I think, because, you know, people listen to breakup songs after breakups all the time, but when you have songs that are so specifically targeted like this, people will feel way more seen by it. And I'm sure that this song has led to people realizing that they're in shit situations, and I really think that's interesting about songs like this. I think that's pretty much all I want to say about that. I love this song. Like I said, I didn't like the compression of the first listen, but I love it now. I think it fits well with the song. It really fits with the overdrive of it, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The usual. Give a like, give a comment, give a thumbs up, give a subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
This episode contains discussions of abusive relationships. This episode contains discussions of abusive and toxic relationships. Toxic?